the swamp creatures are much deeper and much worse than we ever thought. And there is such a thing as the deep state, and they're filled with hatred, venom, and rage. I have to tell you that our country is in serious, serious trouble.
The United States is held up as the bastion of democracy and freedom. The land of the free, they say. Well, under the glossy facade, there lies a group of faceless, unelected and permanent power brokers who really call the shots. They're a clandestine network of individuals and organisations who have the power to influence elections, dictate foreign policy and control the economy for their own gain, with little regard for the interests of the American people. Donald Trump and his supporters call them the deep state, and he's made it his mission to drain the swamp. But it seems they're not going down without a fight.
We are going to end the government of corruption, which it has definitely been. And we're going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C.
According to the former president, the deep state is made up of the Pentagon, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, as well as other bureaucracies such as the EPA, IRS, and parts of media, big business, and big tech. Trump and his allies see it as a targeted attempt to weaponise these agencies for political gain, to control and influence the outcome of elections, and to pull the strings from within to serve their own interests. They elevate their own to positions of power and stop at nothing to eradicate adversaries. The people in these agencies are not elected officials. They are permanent fixtures in Washington, and they usually outlast any president or politician.
They know that presidents come and go every 4 years or every 8 years, but they're going to be there for decades, and that's what we should be worried about.
They are known as the shadow government because they're faceless and largely unknown to most average voters, yet they wield unprecedented power. The concept of a deep state or shadow government was first seen in Turkey towards the end of the 20th century. A shadow government leaked propaganda in the media and engaged in violence to undermine the government of the day.
The clear example of that simply would be, you could be elected into government, but not necessarily governing the country, which is what the deep state would expect you to do. And this has been somewhat practiced in Turkey quite a long time, where you had the staunch character of a state and its bureaucrats or its elements have controlled a daily business of the government, even though you had elected governments in place.
It's a concept that's usually seen in third world countries where corruption is rife. But Donald Trump and his allies have exposed that the same phenomenon can happen in the free world.
Unelected deep state operatives who defy the voters to push their own secret agendas are truly a threat to democracy itself.
Trump's presidency between 2017 and 2021 was marred by scandal after scandal, with multiple attempts to impeach him and cause damage to his administration. Trump supporters and Republicans believe these scandals were the mastermind of the deep state. The Russian hoax showed the deep state in action. A conscious partnership between the Democrats, the shadow government and the media to damage Donald Trump's campaign. The big lie cooked up by the deep state was that Trump was a puppet of Putin, despite there not being a shred of evidence to support these claims. But the lies only got deeper and more damaging. Through a conduit, Clinton's campaign commissioned an ex-British spy who created a dossier of rumours and disinformation derived from a suspected Russian spy.
If it is a fake story, it was made by somebody who knows the game. If it is a true story, it is very, very close to what we've seen before.
These fabricated stories were then secretly fed to the FBI and the media. They were rubbing their hands together, thinking they landed a whale. They did not. They just showed they were incompetent at their jobs and would believe anything the Democrats fed them.
After 3 years of lies and smears and slander, the Russia hoax is finally dead. The collusion delusion is over.
These events showed the weaponised politicisation and blatant lack of objectivity of these agencies. And after such a humiliating display of incompetence, you would think they'd stop there, but they didn't. They were on a mission to bring down Trump. In an attempt at what Trump supporters consider as thwarting his return to the White House, the FBI raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago, Florida residence. This was an unprecedented move that has never been seen before. The details of the raid are still sparse, but what we do know is the US Attorney General Merrick Garland personally approved the search warrant request for documents that triggered the raid. The search warrant related to claims that Donald Trump mishandled classified material after leaving the White House.
The property receipt is a document that federal law requires law enforcement agents to leave with the property owner.
The timeline for these raids goes back to December 2021, where Trump and his team cooperated with the National Archives and Records Administration to ensure it collected all outstanding materials. In January 2022, National Archives officials collected 15 boxes from Mar-a-Lago containing a trove of documents, including communications with foreign leaders, a letter from outgoing President Barack Obama, talking points, schedules, and mementos from his presidency. Following the examination of these boxes, National Archives staffers reportedly found some material that appeared to be classified. The National Archives then took this to the Justice Department to explore the issue further. The House Oversight Committee began investigating the matter, and by May, the Justice Department became involved and had established a grand jury, issuing at least one subpoena and interview request from former Trump administration officials. Trump claims that the Department of Justice and the FBI asked his legal team in early June to put an extra lock on the door to the room where the boxes of documents reportedly marked as classified were stored. If this claim proves to be true, it could call into question why the government agents needed to use such heavy-handed tactics to seize documents they already knew about. Trump wrote, "They were shown the secured area and the boxes themselves" via his Truth Social app. On the morning of August 8, 30 FBI agents raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida. He went on to say, then on Monday, without notification or warning, an army of agents broke into Mar-a-Lago, went to the same storage area and ripped open the lock they had asked to be installed. A surprise attack, politics, all the while our country is going to hell. The warrant used for the raid has since been unsealed, and it's been revealed that the FBI was investigating potential breaches of the Espionage Act relating to the discovery of top-secret documents. At best, this was a phishing exercise. At worst, it was a deliberate attack against the rule of law. It was a show of force by those in power against the man most likely to be the Republican presidential nominee. The president's passports were removed from his home by the FBI, a fact the DOJ denied through compliant members of the media, before he was forced to admit the truth when a member of Trump's team released an email from a member of the Justice Department's National Security Division acknowledging the Bureau had indeed removed the passports from Mar-a-Lago. They have since been returned. In another unprecedented move, Trump claims the FBI didn't allow his lawyers to be present during the raid. Trump has suggested that the FBI may have planted evidence. US Attorney General Merrick Garland has since come out against these claims, saying Trump's attorneys could stay on the site. In another strange turn of events, the judge who signed off on the warrant to raid Mar-a-Lago was revealed to be Bruce Reinhart, who had previously defended numerous employees of the deceased pedophile billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. Reinhart also donated $1,000 to former President Barack Obama's campaign and a further $1,000 to the Obama Victory Fund. He also donated $500 to the presidential campaign of former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, which was eventually won by Donald Trump. Reinhart left the US Attorney's Office in 2008 to set up a private legal firm and went on to represent a scheduler and pilots for the infamous Lolita Express. Epstein's private jet. To add fuel to the fire, one of Trump's top allies in Congress, House Freedom Caucus Chair Scott Perry, revealed his phone was taken by 3 FBI agents who confronted him while he was travelling with his family.
I got a knock on the door in the morning. I went to the door. There are 3 FBI agents. Of course, like you said, I'm traveling with my family. We have 2 young daughters. I'm with my elderly in-laws. And, they want to take my cell phone. And I said, could you contact my attorney? Why does this have to happen, out on the street, and how did you find me, by the way? And, of course, they wouldn't answer that question. They said they were going to image the cell phone and return it sometime later since I didn't have a phone. And this is my personal cell phone, Brian. I have a official cell phone. They don't want that. So this is my personal cell phone that I talk to my wife on, that I talk to my children on, my constituents. None of the government's business.
An infuriated Perry also suggested that new reforms to add thousands of extra bureaucrats to the IRS will only make things worse.
I think what people need to really think about is, in about a day, we're going to vote on a package, and it'll probably pass, where they're going to employ 87,000 new IRS agents. What do you think they're going to be doing? They're going to be coming for all of you. So yesterday it was my cell phone. Tomorrow it's going to be average, hardworking Americans that are just trying to make it through their days.
A major part of Donald Trump's criticism of the deep state is their clear bias towards the Democrats. He has consistently argued that there are glaring double standards and that the Democrats are not held to the same standards as their Republican counterparts. Trump's recent post on Truth Social questioned why Obama and Clinton were never raided, despite big disputes. It's a good point. The Democrats have had their fair share of scandals over the past decade, none of which have been scrutinised to this degree. During her time as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton attracted criticism for using her private email server for public communications rather than using official State Department email accounts. Clinton's personal server was found to hold over 100 emails containing classified information, including 65 emails deemed secret and 22 deemed top secret, as well as 2,093 emails marked as not classified, which were retroactively deemed confidential by the State Department. In the end, Hillary Clinton deleted thousands of emails using software called BleachBit to wipe her system, and her staff have also used a hammer to destroy devices. Let's pause and compare. Hillary Clinton had 22 emails deemed top secret. The Mar-a-Lago raid revealed 4 sets of top secret documents. People are calling for Trump to be jailed. Hillary Clinton was never raided. She withheld almost 32,000 emails deemed to be of a personal nature, and to this day, no answer has been provided to the public whether those deleted emails were ever recovered and investigated. The FBI concluded that Clinton had been extremely careless, but recommended that no charges be filed because she didn't act with criminal intent, which is the historical standard for pursuing prosecution. One wonders if Trump will be awarded the same leniency. And what about the Hunter Biden laptop scandal? There has been no resolution, and despite the gravity and sheer volume of shady deals Hunter is being investigated for, there has been no raid on either Hunter nor Joe Biden's homes. Hunter Biden is under federal investigation for tax fraud, money laundering and unregistered lobbying, not to mention the evidence of illegal drug use, alleged firearm offences and general lawless behaviour. Mike Pompeo tweeted, "Look at what the DOJ did last night to President Trump, while it slow rolls and looks the other way on Hunter Biden." Eric Trump was also riled up about the double standards.
To have 30 FBI agents, actually more than that, descend on Mar-a-Lago, give absolutely no notice, go through the gate, start ransacking an office, ransacking a closet. They broke into a safe. He didn't even have anything in the safe. I mean, give me a break. And this is coming from what? The National Archives? Yet, Hunter Biden, firearms crimes, prostitution, illegal drugs, shady deals with everybody around the world. And by the way, it's all on his laptop for the whole world to see. In his own writing, in his own words, corroborated by everybody. Where are these FBI agents? Where is everybody? Why is it that the arrows only fly at Donald Trump and his family? Why is it that the political persecution only goes one way in this country?
The FBI has been in possession of Hunter Biden's computer hard drive since December 2019. Joe Biden made the claim in September 2019 that he had no part in his son's business dealings, but documents on the device say otherwise.
Have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings.
One of Hunter Biden's former business partners, James Giller, was the driving force behind Hunter and his uncle Jim Biden's planned multi-million-dollar deal with Chinese energy company CEFC. In an email to Hunter, Jim and other partners on May 13, 2017, Giller outlined an equity breakdown in which 10% of the lucrative CEFC joint venture would be held by Hunter for the big guy. Another partner in the deal, Tony Babalunsky, confirmed the big guy referenced in the emails was in fact Joe Biden. James Giller also instructed Babalunsky in May 20, 2017, don't mention Joe being involved. It's only when you are face to face. I know you know that, but they are paranoid, on the WhatsApp encrypted messaging service. In addition, Hunter Biden was involved in a 2018 project by Burisma Holdings to export grain from Ukraine to China. Former CIA officer Joseph Kofod Black signed off on the project. The revelation of Hunter's ties to the venture came a month after his father's administration accused China of stockpiling wheat amid a global food crisis fueled by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. President Biden had predicted in March that the war would upend global wheat supplies, since Russia and Ukraine jointly account for about a fourth of the world's wheat exports. These dealings were investigated by the FBI, but to this day, it seems like they followed the same path as Hillary's investigations. They were swept under the rug. Jeffrey Epstein's crimes against children were first reported to the FBI in 1996, but didn't come under proper investigation until 2005 by the Palm Beach Police Department. Palm Beach State Attorney Barry Krishna snatched the case from the Palm Beach Police Department and introduced a grand jury to investigate the child abuse. Alexander Acosta, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, said, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. Although the term grand jury sounds serious and official, it's often flawed. Unlike a standard trial, a grand jury proceeding is cloaked in secrecy and not open to the public, with the identity of the witnesses and their testimony kept secret. The special prosecutor calls the witnesses, questions the witnesses, and then selects the evidence that is shown to the jurors. This leaves the whole process open to manipulation from the prosecutor. Though the Palm Beach Police Department had the statements of 5 Epstein victims and was aware of many others, Krishna recalled only one of Epstein's numerous victims to testify before the grand jury, despite having access to many more. The grand jury ultimately indicted Epstein on one count of soliciting adult prostitution. The prosecutors cited conflicting accounts by victims as a rationale for not indicting Epstein on a single count of child abuse. Epstein was sentenced to 18 months in the county jail, where he served 13 months in 2008 in minimum security after Acosta and the Justice Department negotiated a sweetheart deal with a non-prosecution agreement. Epstein was arrested at Teterboro Airport in July 2019 following a search of his New York residence by the FBI, where the agents discovered a hidden safe and found an enormous collection of photos of naked girls plus CDs of sexual acts.
Today, we announce the unsealing of sex trafficking charges against Jeffrey Epstein. The charges allege that Epstein sexually abused young girls by enticing them to engage in sex acts for money. Epstein was arrested this past Saturday evening at Teterboro Airport aboard his private jet that had just landed from Paris, France. Epstein was taken to the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, and later today, he will be presented before Magistrate Judge Pittman, and later a conference before District Court Judge Berman.
The FBI were doing their job, so we all thought. But the agents left Epstein's residence, abandoning the photos and CDs with Epstein's employees, free to wander about the place. As Kelly Maguire, FBI special agent in charge of the search, explained during Maxwell's trial, they only had a warrant to search the house, but not to remove evidence. Evidence at the heart of the entire sex trafficking scheme. And then the CDs and photographs disappeared. Epstein allegedly committed suicide on August 10, 2019.
Epstein's jail cell looked like this when the medical examiner arrived hours after his death, August 10th. Bed sheets strewn around, two fashioned into nooses with complicated knots.
Now compare the FBI investigation to what has just happened to Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Epstein had several victims come forward for years before any investigation began. He was also given the privilege of a deal which bought him another decade of freedom. Then when the FBI finally investigated again, evidence was lost. Epstein's staff were allowed to be present whilst the search of his residence took place, and his associates were not questioned extensively. Comparatively, Trump wasn't awarded any privileges given to a pedophile and sex trafficker over the archiving of documents. Republicans and critics of the FBI, CIA and other organisations known as the Deep State say they have been weaponised in modern politics. Trump's antidote to this is what he refers to as Schedule F. Trump enacted Schedule F late into his presidency, but it was scrapped once President Biden was elected to office. If re-elected in 2024, Donald Trump is reportedly planning on re-implementing Schedule F. A criticism of the current system that Trump flagged was that it's near impossible to fire deep state bureaucrats.
To drain the swamp and root out the deep state, we need to make it much easier to fire rogue bureaucrats who are deliberately undermining democracy, or at a minimum, just want to keep their jobs. They want to hold on to their jobs. Congress should pass historic reforms empowering the president to ensure that any bureaucrat who is corrupt, incompetent, or unnecessary for the job can be told, did you ever hear this? You're fired. Get out. You're fired.
Trump has kept his intentions of running in the 2024 election a secret so far, but it seems the Mar-a-Lago raid has motivated him to make up his mind in favour of running.
I talked to the president just about an hour ago with Henry, and one thing I can tell you is that I believed he was going to run before. I'm stronger in my belief now.
With many commentators saying the raid has been a gift for Trump. There's no question that the Mar-a-Lago raid has lit a fire under Trump and his conservative base. His resolve to return to the White House and drain the swamp is stronger than ever, and the deep state are rattled.